Good morning. Welcome, Ms. Tan Ziling. So, today we are having Ms. Tan Ziling here, who is the Director of Member Relations of the UNGCNMYP, which is the United Nations Global Compact Network for Malaysia and Brunei. She's based here in Malaysia. And this podcast will be we will delve deep into the transformative partnerships and there are partnerships and collaborations for sustainability. The sustainability is a big responsibility for everyone. It's a big task. So it's key. Partnerships and collaborations are critical. And it has emerged as a crucial driving force for behind many successful sustainable initiatives. And it is in this collaboration that we bring together diverse stakeholders, businesses, NGOs, governments, and communities. So this session we will be exploring these partnerships in shaping a more sustainable tomorrow. So on behalf of Meranti, I am very privileged here to welcome Ms. Tan Ying from UNAGC. And all right, so sustainability is a big responsibility, as mentioned, and we are all collectively saving the planet and ourselves and humanity for survival. So there are various aspects for sustainability to happen. So I'm going to start first with understanding why partnerships for sustainability is important. And would you be able to enlighten us on what, say, the pressing challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, and social inequality? What are what do you mean by sustainability partnerships? We know in businesses or in government there are a lot of partnerships, but what specifically is partnerships for sustainability? How does that happen?
Okay, thank you so much, Roslyn, for welcoming us and for having us at this podcast as well.
Mhm.
I think the topic today is about partnership. So when we talk about sustainability, it basically means about thinking about long term. So
Okay.
it's not so much on perhaps back then, as an example, back then maybe a lot of we call it CSR projects,
Yeah.
corporate social
Yeah.
responsibility project. So back then, a lot of CSR project many times it's just like a one-off kind of activity,
Yeah.
perhaps, you know.
Yeah.
So that there's no, long
For PR.
term. Yeah, correct. So there's no long-term planning about,
Mhm.
okay, I do it once, so what's next? And
Yeah.
that's it. So now it's a bit different because now we are mostly talking about more sustainable project
Yeah.
and in terms of partnership as well. So perhaps, for this kind of CSR projects, they are not looking into just a one-time project.
That's
It's
true.
also talking, for example, if you're working with a community,
Mhm.
so perhaps maybe in the next 3 to 5 years, how are the community going to
Yeah.
benefit from whatever project that you are doing with them? So what kind of impact are you looking at? So what kind of different partners that you want to bring in to work on this kind of projects? So that's what we talk about.
That's
long-term.
true because we do have a target now, and it's critical. And like the time to meet that is a race against that time
Correct.
to meet it. So there are where certain partnerships have made specific positive impact on social environmental issues. Do you have anything to share with us that you may have come across among your members? What are some of the organizations out there seriously looking into creating these long-term sustainable partnerships, not sustainable only for the environmental, social, but also for their business, as in the wealth of the business itself and the branded positioning and all that.
Actually, there are really many companies who are doing good work like that.
That's great.
Yeah. So, in terms of some of these really large companies, I do know some companies who are really into biodiversity. So
Okay.
they are putting a lot of efforts in terms of conservation on like tigers, Malayan tigers.
Okay.
Yeah, because they are actually more related into like palm oil.
Let me
palm
make
oil
bank.
sectors.
I'm just
Yeah, it's not Maybank. Yeah, Maybank is doing a lot of Very amazing work as well, actually. So they do have this kind of program whereby they work with a lot of social entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So and it's not only in Malaysia. So they do focus across the ASEAN region. So they do fund all these social entrepreneurs, and then
Right. Okay.
yeah. So for their products, whether it's in arts and crafts or etc. So they do go there, they visit them, they see how can they help the community, and then they do have some kind of like competition kind of thing, like
Alright.
yeah. So which these are really very interesting and good long term. So it's not like, I'm just going to give you fund for one time
Yeah.
and then that's
Yeah.
it. So they do provide them with the fund so that they can come up with their business structure, and then it's
Yes.
more like for a long term thing. And how will this also help with the community wherever they're from?
Would that include procurement also, which would really economically impact the communities positively? Because if they have a long-term procurement from these corporations, that will really help. Do you see this happening in the
Yeah, definitely. Correct. Definitely procurement in terms of the supply chain
Yeah.
is also one of the very big how to say major site to look into.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you talk about sustainability in business perspective right now,
Uh-huh.
so right now there's a lot of focus in terms of how to engage with supply chain, especially the smaller suppliers, the SME suppliers.
That's true.
So of course, if you're looking at the context right now, right? If you're looking from, there's from EU, from European side, from American side, there have been a lot of measures, implementation of measures or policies whereby they require companies to have certain, implemented certain ESG strategies.
Yes. Yes.
So otherwise, they may not want to do business with
That's
you.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's
So
true.
those are some of these. Of course, for the bigger companies in Malaysia, they more or less are aware about this. So for the smaller companies, how do we get them ready for this?
That's
So
true.
it's also for them for their business continuity. So as an example, right now for UN Global Compact Network Malaysia and Brunei, we are having a series of programs actually,
Okay.
a bit more focus for helping the SMEs on how they can also embark on this journey, but
Yeah.
also it's more of helping on their business resilience and
That's true. That's true.
sustainability. Yeah. So, example, we are working with some of our corporate members, working with their procurement. So to
I
engage
see.
with their suppliers, to train them, to provide them with one assessment that we developed locally. It's called a ESG Start Assessment, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's an assessment to help SMEs to understand about their maturity or readiness level on
Yeah.
ESG.
Yeah.
So then they can take the next steps on how they want to improve, what they need to do, and etc.
That's great to know because it would be quite daunting if you are SMEs at this point to know that you do need to be doing all these things.
Exactly.
And the first thing that will come to mind, can I do it?
Yeah.
Does it involve money? Do I need
Right.
to learn anything?
Exactly.
And we don't want to scare them away, right? And we want to bring them into the space to know
Yes.
that this is not only to do this for the UN, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's for us. But doing that also gives them the platform to be more, not just resilient in the sense that they have resilience in the business because
Correct.
now um, the other corporations or the ecosystem itself is finding them credible to go into business with because they are a part, because they also need to have the ecosystem
Correct.
abiding or compliant to this, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Nice. So the systematic way of educating them that is available, how do they know where to find this? I know um, for the corporations that you work with, it's quite easy to get access to the SMEs in the supply chain. But we were just speaking about this earlier.
Mm.
If I were just a startup or maybe a small business, not maybe even by the road, even more, right? How do you find access to this
Yeah.
kind of training?
Yeah. Sure. So just bringing back a bit also, actually it's not easy to also engage SMEs. Even for
Yeah.
us, right, when we engage with our corporate members,
Mm.
so often than not, when they send out training requests,
Yeah.
actually the response rate is not that high.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
from our first few times, we were thinking, oh, it must be quite easy when we have all these corporate to send out to their suppliers. But there's actually a lot of work to be done
Right.
to also even your suppliers to also even educate them, why is our company going into this direction? How does this also help your business and etc. Yeah. And then in terms of you were mentioning about those very, very small business or even some of the startups. So like right now for UNGC MIB, right, we are also trying to work with a lot more partners to
Yeah.
to work with businesses at this area, the micro SMEs, the startups. So one example to share was actually we recently have like a training program for SME and micro SMEs basically.
Okay.
It's actually a collaboration with SIDA. They're part of the SME Bank.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we are giving out like 1,000 free trainings for SMEs. It's a one-day training online session.
Oh.
So it's given out to SMEs to participate actually. So in that session, my colleague is the one who does the
Right.
training. But he did mention to me there were a few times, there were even some of these who attended were actually, they sell kuih tepi
Yeah.
jalan, warung, which
Yeah.
is quite interesting. But for them also it's a different kind of perspective that we may have to look into, because when we talk about so much about ESG, it's very much very business focused. But
True.
yeah, so for the smaller entrepreneurs, maybe we may need something a bit more simple, some simple things
Yeah.
that they can do.
I
Yeah,
suppose that would be also a win for you, because then you would see the challenges or situation from their end, right?
correct.
In their
Exactly.
shoes.
Exactly.
So the
Understand.
ESG is that there's so many levels of it. There's like
Correct.
the really low level, the mid, and the top.
Yes.
Of course, the big giants will have loads on their side to do, but as a one closer to the ground, we may ourselves miss some of the areas that we should be covering, that you may for all we know is contributing a lot more to
Correct.
the
Exactly.
to the challenges out
That's
there.
true.
Okay. Um, do you impose any criteria or indicators to these small businesses, as in how do you measure that success of this collaboration, from all the way to the big ones to the little ones?
Mm.
But it's good that you are working with SEDA also, because the whole of Malaysian SMEs are under them,
Correct.
and there may be other organizations such as theirs who are doing the same thing. So your job is to go talk to everybody and maybe have representatives among the community.
Yes.
Do you have volunteers? How do you do that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So in terms of like measurements and all, of course, for us, we don't make it mandatory for them.
Okay.
But we do see there are more and more this kind of criteria coming in.
I
So
see.
there's different push factor from different sides lah. So example, when we talk about the larger companies, listed companies, of course they have regulatory to push. Example, Bursa is pushing. For the financial institution, we have Bank Negara is pushing, and they're making it mandatory for the large companies.
Okay.
So those, well, they have to comply
people
because
to
they
do
are
it, right?
yes. So they are because they are quite regulated.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the mid-tier companies or even the smaller companies, of course, it's difficult to make it compulsory for them because they will need some time to transition as well, to start planning and all. So as of now, of course, there's no compulsory requirement for them to do reporting. But from our side, what we are trying to do is also to bring them the awareness, to let them know that, okay, aside from just having your strategy and etc., it is also important for you to start collecting your data, start reporting, start measuring, because it's like back then, as I mentioned, back then when we do any CSR projects or whatever thing, installing solar, we will just put it in the report to say that, oh, my company has installed solar at which year. That's it. But right now, this is not sufficient anymore. People want to know, okay, you install solar, so how much of energy do you save? How much of emission footprint, this kind of thing. So people want to more information. So that's why it's important to start first thing first, collection of data, because
Mm.
back then nobody used to collect data like that. So
Yeah, about that.
yeah, so collection of data, and then you start monitoring, and then you start reporting once you know, yeah, you have your data on that.
I suppose it's just being aware of what I do daily in my business.
Correct.
And where do I throw my trash? Where does the water come from? Who
Exactly.
am I employing? What kind of ingredient I'm putting in here?
Correct.
So,
Correct.
right? It's, I guess, putting more attention to your business, which is a good thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it would, I mean, if you have that, I hope probably would lead to a better quality products, better quality service, better quality environment. That would definitely
Yeah. Exactly.
enhance the business.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So when we talk about collaborations or partnerships, that will mean that there will be many people involved in that, not just us doing it. Okay,
Of
we know
course.
when there's like many heads in one, there will be um things we need to consider. But let's see on let's talk about who would be in this collaboration. Who should we be thinking about? How do we identify who should be in our ecosystem in this collaboration for sustainability? Um, I suppose the first one would be, of course, our stakeholders, and that could be other businesses or
Correct.
NGOs, and like maybe for us, that would be other governments and the local communities. Um, what are the? Do you know? Maybe you can enlighten us. What are the roles of each? I'm sure each one of these different stakeholders have their own different roles and responsibility. What are the common ones that you can teach us here?
Yeah, sure. So, what you've mentioned is right. Actually, for this kind of sustainability partnerships, right? We basically need stakeholders from all
Yeah,
sectors, lah.
yeah,
You know,
correct,
whether it's
yeah.
public, it's private, it's NGOs. So, it's important to get everyone involved, because it's difficult to do things alone, and you need expertise from everybody.
Yeah.
And each of these parties, they will have their own strength, their own stakeholders, their own people that they connect with. So it's very important to have different sectors to be part of this kind of long-term partner
Okay.
sustainability related partnerships as well. So in terms of the roles and all, to be honest, it very much depends on what kind of partnerships that we are going in, and what kind of projects that we are working on as well. So normally, for example, just as an example, I take our partnership with SIDA. So we are running this training program for SMEs.
Right.
So of course, from our side, our role, our expertise is, you know, providing the knowledge, the awareness. We come up with the content, and whereas for SIDA, because they have their network of SMEs that they work with. So from their side, it's a lot of, you know, getting all these SMEs to come on board,
Okay.
you know, to share the information with them. So yeah, so this in terms of the roles, really very much depends on what kind of specific partnerships that we're looking into.
Yeah, I guess if you understand, if you can speak their language, what are the mandate that we can help
Yes,
fulfill?
correct.
What are the KPIs that we can help fulfill? And like for example, you're giving an example of SIDA here. There is another it is another value that they can add to their community of
Exactly.
SMEs.
Correct.
That I mean, if that narrative comes across,
It's easy.
it should be, you know, you're like you're helping me do my job here.
Yeah, correct.
I don't need to find other programs to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
And then I'm delivering it for free, and there's no
Yeah,
cost to me.
yeah,
So I
correct.
guess it is very important for you guys also to understand what each different vision of what each organization has to do.
Yes, exactly.
Speak
Correct.
their language when you go
Correct.
in.
Yeah. So for example, when right now we are looking into a lot more um uh engagement with the smaller companies. So we are also trying to see what are some of these private sectors that are focusing working with SMEs.
Yeah.
What are some of the government agencies? So actually Merenti is also one of it, that, you know, we also want to start looking into how can we work with the startup ecosystem. Yeah. So it's also important, you know, when you start a business, you should also have sustainability in place. Yeah. So then it's easier for your long term. So right now, a lot of businesses, they face difficulty because they never had this kind of thinking about sustainability when they started the business. So now there's a lot of, sudden changes. Then they get, oh, I need to do this. And so it would be good when, from the start, you already have this thinking. You know that it's something that you need to do also. When you start up your company, you have a vision on long-term sustainability, whether it's on the business, economic, environment, or even on social part. So then things goes easier. So as you grow your business, you will always have this thinking in mind that
Yeah.
you have to think about sustainability.
Because as you grow, that it gets different. At
Correct.
different stages of the business, you need to deal with different things,
Exactly.
right? And there also for some businesses, you do need to know what are the regulations, what are
Yes.
the policies, governing me and my business. So I suppose they also need that is their role to inform how are they helping these companies in managing this ESG sustainability collaborations. So all right. So we were just I guess we did speak about collaboration earlier and we saw a little bit of challenges in there. But again, going back to understanding what their needs to match with ours is already a
Correct. Yeah.
solution. Yes.
Yes, that's the most important.
And how do you, I guess along the way, how do you build trust with this is when you are offering something to make their lives easier, then the trust and the collaboration, the trust is built on from there.
Yeah.
And it's just about keeping that going.
Correct.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
How do you do that normally? Is that on a daily basis that you go out checking on everybody?
Well,
How-
yeah, not so much on a daily basis, but also to always have a constant engagement with the stakeholders that you're working with, and of course not to provide any updates, to have if there's any issues, we need to speak up.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so it's
yes.
not like, oh, I'm facing issues, I want to keep away, then make sure that everyone. Yeah, so I mean, of course, if you can solve it, do solve it. But if it's something that needs to be solved collectively by different parties, these are important to bring up as well, so that
Okay.
all parties involved are aware about what's happened, and then we
Mhm.
can come up with a solution.
So you will be, say, if there is a situation that has arisen from one organization and the value chain in the effort of them educating each other. So will you be called on to sit in there and resolve these issues? Because I suppose the trust is built when they are assured that if anything such as this happens, that there is always someone that they can reach out to sort it out.
Yeah, yeah. So we do. So, like you were mentioning, those kind of engagement with suppliers. So, a few times actually, like the procurement team, when they engage with the suppliers, they don't really receive response.
Okay.
So we do come in. So we will sort of organize maybe like one physical session
Alright.
or even an online session,
So that's
depending.
ideation, or how do you get out? How do I help you get to your
Yeah, so
value chain?
yeah, correct. So
I see.
depending on the situation, we can
Okay.
run like an online session, we can
Right.
run an in-person session.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
just to do like a one-time engagement with the suppliers, so that they also feel like, oh, okay, it's this kind of training. This would be beneficial for my business. It's something that we need to look in the future as a business. It will help my business. So we can do these kind of engagements. Yeah.
So I mean, in the event that if anyone's here in the podcast that's listening to us and suddenly feel the need that, oh, that is what I want, that it is what I need to deliver. Maybe some of us are looking for this kind of content or program to deliver to our own community supply chain. Do we reach out to you, or how do we
Yeah,
get
definitely.
them?
Yeah, definitely. So for us, we are more than happy to also
Okay.
engage or work with private sectors in terms of engaging with their suppliers, with their SMEs, to drive this whole sustainability or ESG agenda.
Right.
So aside from actually working with the suppliers and SMEs, for us under UNGC, because we do have some of these products that is accessible to our network member companies.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah. So one of it is actually called like a academy, our UN Global
I
Compact
see.
Academy. Essentially, it is an e-learning platform, digital learning platform, and it's something accessible to all employees in the organization. So we currently have about 50 over e-learning
Okay.
courses. It's all focusing on topic areas on sustainability or ESG. So example on climate change, on labor and human rights, on anti-corruption and etc. So
Oh,
it's
that's great.
it's a tool for
Yeah.
companies to use it to actually raise awareness among the employees
Okay.
and also the knowledge, of course. Yeah.
All right. That means just in case, right? Because now that we know that it is available, and we will be speaking about the access and the value that
Yeah.
of becoming a member of UNGC in a bit. So putting all this together, I mean, for sustainability to succeed, we do need to have partnerships and collaboration. And we identified all the stakeholders that need to be in the ecosystem. For some of us, maybe there would be more stakeholders. Some of us maybe have less,
Correct.
but this will evolve as the business also evolve, right? And of course, when you have collaborations and partnerships such as that, there will be issues that we have just highlighted earlier that you may be facing, just to preempt you here a little bit. But we also did speak about how some of that already mitigated and resolved,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So to tie all that together, how then would you measure how would then we even ourselves gauge how successful this collaboration has been or the partnership has been? Is there some form of reporting that we need to do? Or how transparent do we need to be? I was just wondering earlier, is there a template that we need to follow? Where do I get this? Like, it's a whole long 100 pages of template. Like,
Understand.
we don't want to scare people here, but it's something
Correct.
that you need to do, yes?
Yeah, correct. So in terms of like reporting template, to be honest, there's no reporting template per se.
Okay.
Because when you're talking about partnerships, right, in terms of how you want to report, what are the measures, I think before you really officially start, it's also important for all parties to decide what are the impacts that you want to create,
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
your KPIs basically.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
important for you to track. So once the project is or whatever partnership is implemented, so what is actually the output? So from there, then you will do your reporting and all. So
Yeah.
of course, in terms of specifically reporting on partnerships right now, there's no one like a
Okay.
standardized format or whatnot.
All
Well,
right.
of course, if you are looking into like certain partnerships, they may be given a grant. So for grant, there may be specific reporting that you need to follow.
Good.
Yeah. But other than that, if you're looking on some of these more generic partnerships, technically, it really very much depends on all the parties how they want to communicate transparently about the project. Like right now, actually, a lot of companies, they are being very transparent. They put everything on their website. So like a specific project that will work, you can actually find all the
Yeah,
details.
so
So those are
it's
actually
a
really good. Yeah,
gives a leverage in
correct.
visibility of the good things
Visibility.
that they did. That
Exactly.
should work very positively for them, right?
Correct.
The branding, like,
The
look,
brand.
look what
Yeah,
I've done here. It's a really good thing.
correct.
Um, okay. So, like you mentioned, we first ourselves need to identify what it is that we can measure, or what should our KPIs be. What are the metrics that is feasible for us to do, right? And once you have that in place, then it is about then meeting that
Correct.
outcome. It would be the output, and what would the output
Yeah.
result in, was the outcome from that.
Yeah.
So all this is even if it's just minimal, there will be differences of this reporting between the very small, the
And you'll
medium,
be, yeah.
and the giants
Correct.
out there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't need to be, if you are the S and M, you don't really need to scan yourself and see, oh, the
Correct.
giants are doing this. Because when you go to their website,
Yes.
you will see all the things that they are measuring.
Yeah.
And you will say, there's no way I can do that, right? But I suppose it's about measuring yourself. What
Correct.
can you and your team do,
Exactly.
and what can the business do? Right? Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
That will be a comfort to everyone. Okay. Um, where do you see any good hope out there in the future collaborations? What do you see any exciting things happening or the trends that are coming up that you hope will catch on, such as circular economy initiatives? Has anyone in this country managed to go maybe a little bit? Have you seen that happening maybe at the early stage or the mid stage or fully circular? Because it's quite difficult to get the whole circular
Correct. It's
system
yeah.
in place,
Exactly.
right?
It's not
There's
easy.
so much elements in there, and there's so much little bits and pieces that you need to be aware of from 0 to 360 degrees.
Correct.
It's just not just I'm buying plastic and then recycling it, right? That's
Yeah.
a little bit of that circular part.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also impact investing and the SDGs and your SDG agenda.
Yeah. SDGs and
How do you see that evolving here? Is that good news for us to look forward to?
Yeah, of course there is. I think first thing first, in terms of when we talk about government side, we do see, especially this year,
Oh,
there has been a lot of policies that have been launched by
yes,
the
yes.
governments. So example, earlier months we had our NETR, our
Yeah.
new industrial master plan,
Yes.
and then recently MITI has launched this IESG framework.
Yes.
So this is something actually also more focused to help micro SMEs and MSMEs specifically on how
Right.
they can start their ESG journey. And then also on like a recent budget, Prime Minister has also mentioned some of these sustainability related kind of initiatives that even government to focus, and also how they are also pumping in certain monies to,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
push this agenda.
There is a lot of support out there for
Correct.
people to start rolling this.
Correct. Yeah. So this is actually very, very much exciting that,
Yeah.
you know, this year we see the government announcing a lot of this kind of initiatives, policies, or strategies, which definitely gonna push all of this. And we are also expecting, you know, next year, following year to be more exciting, because with all these things being implemented, we do see, you know, hope to see things, you know, rolling and all.
Yeah, that's great to know that everyone's putting in what they can.
Correct.
Because to make that happen, right? And then we have less than a decade to get to where we need to go.
Exactly.
And for those of you listening, all these new policies that Z was mentioning, it can easily be accessed on the internet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we would advise for you to really, give that a visit, give that a good read, because what you will find is a lot of support and a lot of information
Correct.
to help you do what you need to do.
Exactly. Correct.
So I'd like to go back to the value that you mentioned about being a member of UNGC and MYP.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit who can be a member? How do we do that, and what are the benefits in there for them?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of who can be a member, actually we are open to all private sectors, which means basically any companies, no matter big or small, no
Okay.
matter which industry you are in.
All right.
So we welcome all sizes of companies, all sectors of companies to join us.
Okay.
And of course, in terms of what are the benefits? So I would say one of the main thing is in terms of helping organization on building their sustainability culture or their talent development. So one of the main issue that Malaysia is facing right now is also the scarcity of talent in sustainability.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
especially if you are looking at right now, since Bursa Malaysia is also mandating on reporting requirement and etc. So now all the listed companies, they are looking for someone who can do sustainability in their organization.
All right.
But it's also sort of a new position whereby
That's a new skill. We need to
a
go
new
out and
skill.
can do it
Yes,
ourselves, right?
exactly. It's a new skill, a new position. So hence that's why it's not easy to get talent in this
Right.
in this area. So so that's why for us to build this, we are also trying to do a lot more on, awareness building, training, capacity building kind of work. So So earlier I was mentioning we have this UNGC Academy.
Yes.
So that is one of the more simple steps that you can
Okay,
start on
okay.
first. Of course, because it's digital learning, it's
Yeah,
easily
that's really
accessible.
good and
Yeah,
really
you just have to
accessible.
log in and you can go through whatever courses that we have in there. So inside we have courses like, guiding you to understand about how to calculate greenhouse gas. So we call
Wow.
it the greenhouse gas accounting. Yeah.
Oh,
So how
nice.
you calculate the greenhouse gas? There's a specific method on how you do it. So then from there you can just do at least 3 to 4 hours of self-learning. So at least you have the basic idea. Then perhaps after that, if you want to, deep dive, then perhaps you can
Mm.
do your own self-research, or you can embark on specific training related to greenhouse gas accounting. Yeah.
So good news for those who are still in school or still in uni. That's a degree you should be going forward.
Yeah,
You're going
actually,
for, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Even now, like a lot of universities that we see,
Yeah.
maybe Malaysia not so much, but overseas definitely they have a
Yeah.
lot. Malaysia's we do see slowly. Universities are also coming out with courses related into like sustainability, business sustainability, corporate
Okay.
sustainability. Yeah.
Right. That's nice. There's a lot of good and interesting news for us today. So I suppose if anyone is keen out there to be a member of this, they can just reach out to you, or
Definitely.
is there a website that we can go to?
Yes, of course. So you can visit at www.ungcmyb.org. So from there, you can actually find out various information about us, even about how to join us, what are some of our upcoming events and all.
Okay. So I suppose we've come to the end of it. On behalf of Meranti, we also would like to make a call for everyone out there listening. If you'd like to know more about this podcast is also in conjunction with the upcoming iNation that will be happening on the 20th of November at a connection in Bangsa. So the iNation this year, the theme is focusing on sustainability. You will find more information and how to attend this on the Meranti website. And it will be very good if you can attend, because the whole day, or all the speakers and guests, including UNGC, also will be there. And you will probably get a lot more in-depth and a lot more areas of sustainability or aspects from that session itself. Okay, so give a look out to our website and just follow us. Keep following us there on all our channels. So, Zing, we are so happy to have you this morning. So, on behalf of Meranti, we like to express our gratitude and thank you for making time for this podcast. When we do hope to see you again on at iNation.
Sure. Thank you so much, Rosalie.
You're welcome.
Happy to be here.